will shine a spotlight on small business owners finding success. First up on today's show, the deadline for SMEs to claim research and development tax incentives is fast approaching. And according to my next, many companies are still unaware of the benefits the program can provide and is urging SMEs not to miss out. For more, Brendan Brown, partner at MPR Group, joins us now from our Melbourne studio. Brendan, can you start by telling us what is the research and development tax?
First of all, thanks for having me here, Carolyn. At a high level, the R&D Tax Incentive is a federal government program. It's been in operation for some 20 years in Australia. And about 2 years ago, the government sort of reinvigorated the program, and they provided more benefits to essentially small business to claim internal development of new technologies, products, processes and devices that can be claimed now under the R&D Tax Incentive program. And at a very high level, they can get a tax break, and that can be beneficial to small businesses to help fund that ongoing research and development.
So why is it so important for SMEs to meet the deadline? Are there any exceptions there?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a use it or lose it deadline. So businesses need to lodge a registration annually by 30th of April every year. So based on the previous 12 months worth of financial year expenditure that they've incurred, they've got 10 months after the end of each tax year to lodge their application. So for businesses that have a June 14 tax year end, they'll have until 30th of April 2015 to lodge their application. And unfortunately, as I indicated, if they miss that deadline, they can no longer go back and claim that expenditure.
So what do you make of the recent announcement by the government to cap R&D claims at $100 million?
That's really only going to affect the top end of town. In the government's modelling, they believed it would only affect 25 companies Australia-wide. So clearly, I think it's a movement to, put a bit of money back into their budget. And I think it confirms their intent to really focus on the SME side of town. And certainly, all of our clients would be well under $100 million in annual R&D expenditure. So I think this just reconfirms the government's intent to focus on SMEs, and certainly in the media releases that have come out in recent weeks, there was strong support towards the SME market in those media releases.
And what other tax cuts is the government offering in terms of R&D, or what other benefits are they offering?
Well, essentially, the benefits come in the form of a tax credit. So where a company is in losses and in pre-revenue stage, or they have prior year tax losses, they can actually cash out and get 45% of their annual R&D expenditure refunded in the form of a tax credit. So, for example, if a company was to spend $100,000 and they qualify for the 45% tax refund, they'll get a cheque for $45,000. The key test is that the company needs to have income, annual income of less than $20 million to qualify for that 45% tax credit. And if they don't qualify, they just get a 40% non-refundable tax credit. Where the business is profitable, it comes in the form of a reduction in the company tax. So essentially, if a business is profitable and paying tax, for every $100,000 it spends on R&D, it'll get a 15% or a $15,000 reduction in company tax.
Now, Brendan, some businesses say it's just too time-consuming to do this, and it takes a significant amount of internal resources to work through the entire process. Do you agree with this?
One of the new changes to the R&D rules that came in a few years ago is that there's no formal requirement to have an internal R&D plan prepared and signed off before the R&D is actually conducted. Those businesses now keep appropriate records to sort of substantiate and document the actual experimentation and the R&D that's being done. They can actually justify a claim. And it's always good to look to use an expert such as MPR. We do a lot of claims with our clients where we actually sit down with them, help them assess are they eligible for R&D in the first instance, and then how do we actually prepare the relevant paperwork to lodge in the application at the end of each tax year.
And Brendan, just finally, how can SMEs get a better understanding of how to claim for R&D? Where can they get more information from?
Yeah, so the government has a website. The R&D program is essentially administered by a government department called Oz Industry. They have a number of education materials and information on their website. And Similarly, because it's claimed through the company tax return, you can sort of go to your tax accountant in first instance if you've got any questions, and they should be able to point you in the right direction.
Brendan, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Small business owners are warned to beware of a new twist to